Hi, in this video we're going to learn how to test a Node.js application. So why do we use automated testing framework? Because whenever your project becomes scalable in size, or whenever a new developer comes to your project and if they add some new features and they want to see that the whole project is not breakout, so they can just simply run their testing suite and they can see that they haven't broke out. So that's why we are using testing framework for many purposes, like refactoring a code. Maybe when you have refactored some code in your project and you can see that your features that you have added new feature that is not like break. So we are gonna use in here the jestjs.io means jest framework in here. So in here we just gonna how to install this Jest.js. So in here just use npm install test save test dev jest, because we are gonna use this uh, framework in just our development purpose. So I have installed it as dev dependency in here, and also I have added the test script in here because we're gonna run it as a test suite. So we're gonna use npm test in here, and let's see what happens. So we see that they have checked all the files, but they can't no test found. So yeah, we're gonna just create a new test folder. I have created the test folder in here, and you're gonna just create a new file, and let's give a name math.test.js. One thing to remember that you have to give the .test extension in here, because that's how the jest will see that you have added one test file, and that the jest will uh, run here. So globally the jest framework is not required here to like we have to use const jest and require it from the jest for our library where it's globally. So in here the jest provides one function, and its name is test function, which is a global. So in here it requires two arguments. First argument is a string. A string is the name of the feature that you have added. You can give any name in it. And second argument is a callback function, or just as a function which will run, which will check that your test is running or not. So in here, just say for introduction part, let's say hello world. That's our name of it's just an introduction. So in here I'm going to simply run this as a blank, in nothing there. So if you run this, we're gonna see that it passes the test, but there's nothing here, so it passes anything there because it is not throwing any error from here. So let's say I'm going to see you how can we throw an error. We know that we can throw an error through throw new error, and let's say a failure. And if we just run this file, we're gonna see that it throws an error. That's because it's seeing that it's throwing an error, so it will throw an error. Yeah. So now I'm going to just simply create a new file in here, and in file in here, and let's say the file name is math.js, because that's how we're gonna uh, just export the file from here to math.test.js so that it will run from here. And see here, so in here we are gonna just simply create a new function. Let's say total tip. We are just calculating a tip only, or that's all. So let's say proper name calc calc total tip. So it passes how much argument from here. So first argument will be total, and second argument will be the tip percent. So the const tip will be what? Tip will be total multiply with tip percent. So in here what we are passing, tip percent will be as a like if it is a 30% means 0.3, that's what I'm passing from here. And what it will return, it will return total plus tip. Now we're gonna just export from here. So let's say module.export calc total tip. And in here I'm just going to require it from the math.js, and where from I'm going to just say math equal to require from dot slash math. Yeah, so in here I'm going to create a new test file. I'm going to remove this one. There is no need for this. So I'm going to what to calculate. So should calculate total tip. Yeah, and now I'm gonna just create a new const total. That's what it's returning, the math or the calc total tip function. In here we're gonna just give the total, let's say 10 and 0.3. So yeah, so what it will return if total is equal to, let's say, is equal to what it will 1.3 is the answer of this as we know it. So in here if it is not equal to 1.3, so it will give an error. So just throw an error here, throw a new error, just say like should be total should be 1.3, but cart total. Now let's see, just run it and we're gonna see what happens. So if we just npm test, you can see in here that it passes the test cases. Yeah, you can see that it passes the test cases. Now if we just like give or in the math.js, if we just do something wrong, like we are gonna use plus tip in here once. So if we just added one plus tip in here and we just run here, we can see it has been failed because total should be 13 but got 16. So it is running and you can see the total is 16 in here. That's why it's giving an error. But you can see that we have to use some on code in here, so we can also use that what assert something in here that Jest.js provides in here. So in the guide there is something called expect, which Jest provides in here. So we're going to use expect value in here. So we don't have to use this one. we can simply use expect what, expect 13, and after that we're gonna use this value to be. So how can we use this? So this is what it is using, that expect total. If we just use our English sentence in here, that what we are expect total to be what? To be 13. So if we just run it, and we can see in here that it failed. That's because we expected 13 but received 16. So that's how it's been done. So but just one line of code, we can see that what is giving here. So if we just correct out this mistake that we have done here and just run it, we can see that it has been passed from the test suite. So this how we, in the docs there are many useful methods that is being used in the Jest framework, and this can be helpful. Like you can see that if we to be null, yeah, we can use a to be null method, and to throw any error matching snapshot. So that's how it's been done. So now if we just like do something, like when we are just not passing the percentage something in here, so what it will be do? So let's say if we don't, as a default argument, let's say we are using 0.2 as default argument. Now we have to make another test suite in here. So in here should calculate total tip with default tip percent. So now what to do? So now it will just, we are going to const total, and we're going to use math, and we're going to pass 10 and just 10 in here. And what we expect total to be 12. Yeah, that's what we want in here. So if we just run it and npm test, we can see that all the test cases has been passed. So yeah, that's how we do this is the introduction of the Jest. So that's how we do. So it's been used because it helps to like collaborate whenever like we are uh, using a new framework. So it's very helpful for us how to run a test cases, which is a asynchronous process. And we're gonna also configure our Jest library, because whenever like we are running it using npm test, whenever the test cases are fulfilled or failed, it's going to block out, it's going to return to the command prompt. So let's see how can we do this. So in our package.json, just in our here in the script, in here the test, we are just gonna write jest space dash dash watch. What it will do, like it will run as a node mon in here. So we are gonna just run it npm test, and in our math.test.js we're gonna see how can we use a asynchronous process in here. So in here you can see in our command prompt Let's say I am going to zoom out here. So in here you can see, let's press W to watch more. And here you can see that all the options are here. Like to run all the tests, we can use A. To run only the failed test, we can use F. And these are all other options. And you can see in the documentation if you want to. So if we type A, it will run again all the test cases. And if you want to see only the failed test cases to run, you can use F. So yeah, that's how we can use the Jest as to restart the function properly. Now we are gonna see how can we use a test asynchronous process we can use here. So let's see. So test asynchronous. Let's say async, and we are using callback here. And in here we are just gonna use set timeout. Set timeout, and we're gonna call back. And we're gonna call back, and let's say give 2 seconds, so 2000 millisecond. And here we're just gonna use the expect. So if let's say it is wrong, let's say expect 1.2b2, which is a failed test cases. But now if we run it, just save it here, and it is going to run in here. And you will see that it has been passed, but it should not be passed because it is a failed test cases. So that's why it is giving an error. So how can we do this? How can we correct this? So in here the Jest file, Jest library give one say to give an argument, and let's see, you can give any argument in here. I'm giving the done. In the previous, like in the REST API, we are using the next value for the next argument as a middleware. So in here we are using done, and in here done, it says like whenever it's reading to a done, like whenever see the done argument, then it's going to be like see that all the test cases has been passed. So now in here you can see that it is giving an error, and it is saying that expected 2 but received 1. So this is some small thing that we can do, but we are using async await for a proper use, so this is not how we are going to use. So first of all, we are gonna let's create one promise function in here. So we're gonna use add function in here as a promise, and we're giving 2 argument as a b, and what it will return, it will return a promise. So if we use return new promise, and it is taking 2 argument, that is resolve and reject, and yeah. Now in here we are going to set a set timeout, which will take, let's say, 2 seconds. And here we are just gonna say that if a is less than 0 or b is less than 0, then we are gonna reject, means it is going to be fail. To reject new error, number should be non-negative, which is not if it is negative. So if it is true, then if it is means it will not give any error, then we are gonna resolve it to give the sum. resolve a plus b. So this is our promise function, and we know that it is going to give failed test cases. So we're gonna just comment out, and we're gonna just create a new test cases in here, and let's say give the name should return sum of two number. So in here we're gonna use the done function here. First we're gonna see the primitive one, like we are going to use the done, and in here we're just gonna call the function in here. So what it will return, it means we are going to use the dan function to add. We're gonna adding 3 and 2, and then we are calling dan, which will give the sum. And what we expect sum dot to be 5. Yeah, we are expecting it to be 5. Now if we run it, it will not give any error because we haven't used the done function in here. Yeah, you can see that it is not giving an error. Oh yeah, just use w and just use f in here. Yeah, it's giving an error, so we are gonna use the done here. And now if we run it, you can see in here that it has passed all the test cases. Should calculate total type, should calculate all the, so return sum of two number. Now in here, this is the old-fashioned way. We are gonna use the async await function. So how can we use this? So same thing we're gonna use. We're gonna see in here that it's an async function in here, and also there is no need for this now. There is no need for async done, and we are gonna just because it returns a promise, then we're just gonna use expect const sum is equal to, we can use in here await function in here, and use the add function here, and use the 1020, and we know what it will return. It will return the expect sum dot to be 30. And now if we run it, we can see in here that the test cases has been passed, and we are using the async await function, and we don't need a done in here just as an argument in here. How to use Jest for running our express endpoints, like we have to run the user endpoint and task endpoint. So first of all, we have to change the environment of Jest, because right now by default it is running as a browser environment. So in here, just we're gonna use simple JSON structure. In here, we're gonna use test environment, and it will be node. And in here, we're gonna see that the file, the connection string that we are using in here, because the Jest will run in other environment and it will run in separate environment. So we're gonna separate the environment of test and the production one. So in here, first of all, we have to import one library that's called npm i env-cmd at the rate, it will say that which update or which version you want, and we're gonna save as a dev dependency. So it will be saved as a dev dependency. So in here we're gonna create one new folder. Let's say its name is config, because we're gonna separate environment of both the dev one and the test one. So in here we're just gonna say new file, and let's say its name is dev.env, and one more that's called test.env. You will see that what I am talking about. So in here in dev.env, the connection string will be MongoDB. We're gonna see how can we use this as a assignment in our connection string. So let's first of all, let's close this tab. There's no need for this one right now. So in here in MongoDB URL, you can see in the connection string that this is the connection string for now. So we're just gonna copy it and just leave it there. Use this like, yeah. And if it is saved, and also for test env, we're just gonna copy it, but the name of the means it will be saved as a different collection or a different database. So Mongo's Mongo's test, yeah. And one thing more that we have to do, like JWT key will be also, it will be same, but we have to just keep as because we are using env same thing. So in here in the art file, yeah, so in the middleware, yeah, in the middleware there is the, this is my new course. So just copy it and use it here and just save it. And now in here we can just remove it, and we can use process dot env dot the name of the variable that you have kept here, that is JWT key. So just use it, JWT key. We have to use it one more place. It is in the user model. In here, yeah, here it is. Just use it. And one more in the connection string. So in here, just remove it. Yeah, this will do. The name is same. So now we can just close this file, and this one too, this one. Now in the package.json, we're just gonna give the file means where it is located. So it is located the dot slash config slash dev dot env, and in here it will be env dash cmd dot slash config slash test.env. Yeah, now it will work. So we can see if we just run npm test, you can see it is working. Yeah, you can see that all the test cases has been passed. We have separated the environment, but you can see that it is working. So now for using the express endpoints, app endpoints that we have made here. So in here we're just gonna use the user.test.js because we are gonna test the user router. So in here what to do next? So for testing this file, like express endpoints, it provides with Supertest npm file, npm library that is to be used in here. So you can see that how it works. Same thing, like we're just gonna use the request that is for Supertest, and here the app express, and we're gonna use the endpoints and what is the method, and this is how this will work. So let's see how can we use in here. So first of all we have to install the Supertest in here. So just install it, but as a dev dependency. So just use it here. Now what to do? We have installed a Supertest. So in here we're just gonna use the require it from the we're gonna use Supertest in here. So now we need what? We need app. That means we need this index.js. We need this one. So what can we, because this one run before the listen to any port number. So what we're gonna do, we are gonna restructure our folder system in here. So first we are gonna create one more file. Let's say its name is app.js, that we're gonna use it. So in here what we're gonna use, we don't need this part because we need this part in here. We need this part, yeah, and this part that we need, yeah. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna just cut, copy paste here. We're just gonna cut from here and paste it here, and we're gonna module.export app from here, and for index we're just gonna use app require from /app. So yeah, that's it. This is what we need. So in here we can just const app is equal to require dot slash from get out of the test folder and app. So we have get the app folder, app functionality. So now we're gonna use the request one, and we're gonna use app dot, we're gonna just post in here because this one. So what we need in here, that we're gonna use the test cases. So this is the test cases for what? This is the test case for should sign up for a user, and it will be an asynchronous process that we know, and it will be an await and in which request, and here we're going to use app dot post slash users, and it provides some functions, methods like dot send. What we're gonna send in here, we're gonna send in here the name. Let's say the name is test. Email will be just like test@test.com, and password will be test123. So in here, what we expect from here, we expect like the status code, we expect status code to be 201, and if it run, that we know that if it run properly, it will create a new file for new user in the our MongoDB, because in here we have used one of the REST mongoose in here, but we have separated the environment, so we can see that it will create a new user in the REST mongoose test database. So not to wait, just run it. We can see what will we get. We can see in here that the test has been passed. Yeah, you can see in here that the test has been passed in here successfully. So now if we go to our REST mongoose test, in here you can see that a new user has been created, but there is one problem in here, that if we again run this file, like just run it and save it, it will give the error, because we have the same functionality. You can see it gives error because we have used the this one as email as one unique, so it will give the error because validation is false in here. So whenever we run this test search, we have to use this, like we have to delete all the users, all the collections in our database, so it will restart again. So this is why we are gonna use some global methods that Jest provides, like before each means that it will run before each test cases. In here it needs a callback function. We're gonna see how it will run, but first of all we're gonna see how it will look like. So we're just gonna use console log test, use before each, and one thing more method, that is after each. This one means that it will call after each test call. So let's say console.log after each. Now if you run it, you will see that it will come before the test cases will run, and it will come after the test cases will run. So in here you can see in here that it gives the console log before each and after each. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna just use the before each one, because in here before each cases will run, it will delete uh, the the user that has been saved in our collection. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna just first import the const user. It will require dot slash db slash model slash users. In here what we're gonna do, it will be an asynchronous process, so we're gonna do async, and we're gonna await user dot delete many. We're gonna delete many and just use it. And now if we just save it, we can see that it will run, because it will create a new user. But before creating a new user, it will delete the previous one. So this is how we can test our should sign up for a user, and we can also test for a user that cannot be signed up. And we're gonna use, I'm gonna see how can we log in. So we should log in for a user. In here what we need, in here await request app dot, it will be a post request, and it will be slash user slash login. And in here what we are sending the email test1 test at test.com, and password is test123. So if we run this for this one, it will what it will do, it will not run, because for each test case it will delete the test one, and it will delete the user. So for each cases, what we are gonna do is we're gonna create a new user. Let's say const user. In here what we will provide, we will provide the email, or we will provide the name. Name will be test12. Email will be test12@test.com, and password will be test12233. And for each test case, what it will do, it will do that await, and in here we're gonna save it. So user await user, and for this sorting we can use this await user dot save. This is how we can also save the user. Proper name would be like user1. That will be good, because we can have multiple users in here as per the requirement for test cases. So yeah, so if we will do this, in here we're gonna it is fine. You gonna use this one, like user1 dot email, and in here user1 dot password. So now if you run this file, we can see that it will run perfectly. You can see each test case has been passed. So this is how we can log in and sign up. And for others API that we have used in here, we can do similarly. So yeah, this is how we will do this. Thank you.